Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Vizik here. I'm gonna go ahead and start this off by saying I appreciate all the love and support that I got in my last video. I was actually surprised the amount of views that I got in so little time, but hey, again, I appreciate it. I love you. Go ahead and, hit that subscribe button if you know what I'm saying. But in all seriousness, I do appreciate all the support. Today's video, I'm gonna be going over 5 things that I wish I knew first playing Helldivers. Essentially, this is going to be a new player tips video from a new player, essentially. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this. If you have a lot of experience in the game, or you have a lot of experience in the game, these tips probably won't help you, and some may even be detrimental to higher end play, I guess, maybe. Depends. But this is just something I've noticed as I've played the game. So the first thing I want to go over is always bring an eagle, whether it be an airstrike or a 500 kilogram bomb. I would recommend those two over everything else, but the reason why I say that is because they're so useful and they're on a charge and they activate really fast, or not activate, they come in really fast. So what you can do with those things is when you're running up to an outpost for the automatons or the nest for the termites, I probably pronounced that wrong, the bugs, but you'll be able to just run up to those and throw your thing down and just run away, and then boom, it's done. Sometimes it's a little finicky with the nest because they're in ground, but with the outposts for the automatons, they will be destroyed every single time as long as the strike is going over top of it, or at least right up next to it. And when you have multiple outposts right next to each other, the fact that the eagles are on a charge system, not the 500 kilogram bomb, I will say, so I wouldn't use that as like a outpost destroyer. Probably the airstrike is better for that, but you'll be able to quickly destroy outposts that are really close together without having to wait too much time. Once you throw that one and it gets destroyed, you only got 10 seconds before your next one comes in, then you could destroy the other outpost. The next tip I want to give you is more for solo play probably, and that is to bring some kind of guard dog, either the guard dog rover or I think it's just called the guard dog. You should get the guard dog rover, if I'm pretty sure, before the other one, but you want to have one of those on you when you're playing solo, in my honest opinion. It's not necessary. The reason I say that is because 2 guns is better than 1. If you have something else shooting, it's probably better. Now, the same can be said about the sentries, but the thing about those is those don't follow you around. You kind of throw them, leave them to do their thing, and yeah, as a new player, sometimes you'll just end up reloading more than you need to, or you'll just put yourself in a bad situation, and being able to have another gun going crazy, going ham for you, is always beneficial. Trust me. That rover has saved my life plenty of times already, because it just will keep going when you're dumb and you keep, pulling the trigger, even though you got an empty clip, or you're reloading constantly and you end up running out of ammo or something. The third tip I have for you is also for solo play, and that is, I would recommend, this is probably not necessary and may in some ways probably be detrimental, but use a light armor once you got one. The reason I say that is because while the heavy armor is better for, taking more damage, I don't think that outweighs how much slower you become and how much stamina you lose, because the thing about Helldivers is I've noticed is the maps are a little, for the amount of stamina that you regen and you have to run with a heavy armor or even medium armor sometimes, it ain't cutting it, coach. I would recommend you use a light one. So not only are you being able to do things faster, you also can get out of situations easier, because 1, you're a little bit faster, and 2, your stamina is, when do you run out of stamina? So in my honest opinion, I do think I would recommend you to use light armor over medium armor or even heavy armor. Of course, somebody may say different, or other people have their reasonings for that, but like I said, this is just what I noticed helped me out a ton. Once I switched over to using light armor, I just felt I survived way more, even though my health was lower. I will say you get 1 shot more. But besides that, everything else is beneficial from my point of view. So I guess the second place tip, I guess, would be to be mindful of your mortars. Any sentry that you set down, honestly, any stratagem that you throw down that could do damage, please be mindful of teammates. But specifically for things like the sentries and the mortar, 100% is what I'm particularly talking about. Why do I say this? Have you died by a mortar? The answer is yes. That's why. Make sure if you're going to use a mortar, sentry. Don't use it unless you've got a mic, please. The reason I say this, or, have a mic and willing to, at least say something. The reason I say this is because when you set down a mortar on, pounding into an outpost or something like that, or a nest or we're in the middle of fighting a big group, whatever. People are going to go into that outpost, or people are going to go up to that nest and throw grenades, throw stratagems, get up and close and personal with, spawn killing them or whatever the situation may be. And more likely than not, you're either going to do a shit ton of damage to a teammate, or you're just going to outright kill them. The thing that annoys me the most about friendly fire is the mortars. That is the only thing that I get annoyed about, because it's so preventable by just communicating with your team. Just by holding your push to talk button for like a split second and saying, hey, I'm setting down a mortar, or hey, get out of the way, I'm setting down a mortar, or something of the sort. That's all you need to do. So if you're using a mortar, please communicate it to your team when you're using it and where you're using, or whereabouts you're intending to use it, so your teammates know, so you don't end up killing them. So my last and final tip I have for you, once again, is a group thing. Like I said, do not call the extraction unless everybody is agreed to it, or everything in the map is done. If everything in the map isn't done, don't hit the extraction. Now, this may be different for every group. When I say group, I don't necessarily mean you're playing with your friends. I mean necessarily playing with randoms. That's what I mean when I say play with groups, playing with more people. So if you're playing with randoms or with a group, obviously you can coordinate. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. But when you're playing with randoms, please, please, please do not call the extraction unless everything on the map is done. And I don't mean every little treasure is found, or every little sample's gotten. I mean, all the outposts or nests are destroyed, and at least one of the researches is done if you haven't found the other one. Preferably, you would want to look for it, but that's besides the point. Don't hit the extraction unless that stuff is done, or you have communicated with your team, and they have agreed that you guys need to get out. I understand situation calls for different things, but you need to let your team know. We have to use mics. We all have mics. We all live in 2024. If you're on PlayStation 5, your controller has a mic. If you're on PC, 9 times out of 10 you have a headset with a mic. Figure out how to get it to work if it's not working. Please, 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 please communicate with your team is ultimately the biggest tip I can give you outside of the 5 tips I gave you. Communicate with your team when you're trying to do something that you think can cause problems with everybody else or annoy somebody else. You wouldn't like it if you're in the middle of destroying an outpost, or you see one that you're heading to across the map, and then the extraction gets called and they're sitting at it, and they're more than likely obviously going to get on it. That's kind of annoying. Just like with the mortars I mentioned earlier. It's kind of annoying when your teammate sets down a mortar knowing your whole team's about to go into that outpost area to destroy it, but they do it anyway and they don't let you know beforehand. That's also annoying. So just, if it would annoy you, it's gonna annoy somebody else, so be mindful of that. We all want to have fun. Love you guys. Like always, leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe if you are new. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.